everyone, it's Jan with What You Make It, and I am back for one final last-minute Valentine card that I'm working on. But before I actually do that tutorial, I want to show you another card that I made. I did a tutorial a few months ago on this sweater card that I made with this die from Paper Tray Ink and a knit stamp, a knitted fabric stamp. Really fun, loved it. And I've made several of these cards since then, and I love it. But you know, I'm always looking for ways to use my my tools in multiple ways. So I thought I would share this one card with you, and I did not do a tutorial on it because I was in the learning process. And now that I've got it figured out, I actually will come back, not necessarily on this one, but with another one, because the card that I made with this die, which is the sweater shape up die, and this stamp set called Love Potion is, let me clear this out here so you can see it, is this card. I had seen Betsy Veldman use this as a suit jacket or something like that, and decided that I'd make it into a lab coat. And I did that by, once I cut the die in white, I actually cut it twice and split it so that I could overlap them just a little bit and give them that sense of being a jacket, and put some little buttons on there. But here's what I was trying to figure out. This I could have shown you really easily, but on the inside, I created a pop-up card. And I was trying to figure out how to make the desk that or the little cabinet that the working cabinet, how to get the little beakers with all of the potions and everything to stand up with that. I figured this part out pretty easily, but getting these to do that was a little trickier. I ended up using some of that stretchy beading twine to make them pop up. So here's the card. I'll put some pictures of it in at the end of this other project that I'm going to show you. But I just thought you would like to see that there was something else that we could do with those dies. And I just want to encourage you to look at your products and see what else you can do with them. My little pencils that I have in here, 2 pens and a pencil, are made with toothpicks. And I just colored them up with my Copic markers and then cut them off and put them in a little pocket. I think it's going to be a fun card to give to my honey. I did a little blackboard behind there. It has this stamp set has some really fun little things in it. It has you plus me equals love, and kind of those chemistry, chemical compound or element things. And then it has this little bond thing. So I just think that's really cute. And then the sentiment that I chose is, we've got great chemistry. So I'm going to give that to my honey tomorrow. And I hope that you all are set to have a wonderful Valentine's Day. I'll be back I'm going to clear everything off and come back with this really simple card, but it's a great last minute one if you still need one. So this is the card I want to show you how to make. I don't know if you're like me and have a few last minute Valentines you still need to get done, but I needed something that I could do fairly quickly and would be appropriate for both men and women. I've got a little surprise of cookies that I'm going to take to the office tomorrow, and I just needed something that I could do a quick little Valentine to go with it. And this is very, very, very simple. And I used these dies. I used a Spellbinder circle die and a scalloped circle that coordinated with it so that I could cut my Scarlet Jewel paper and some rustic cream. So I cut those, and then I used my heart die to cut out 3 to 4 pages of a book, thicknesses from a book. We want to have something to kind of fan out. You can see how we have it fanned out here. So there's that. And I used an impression plate, and a embossing folder would work well too. I just thought I would take this opportunity to answer a couple questions that you all have had about when I have said I used an impression plate. An impression plate is a little bit more like letterpress than embossing. You're actually pressing the paper down into it, and it doesn't have a folder that comes over, so the other side is usually muted. So I'll show you this one. This is the correct side. I'll turn it so you can kind of see. This is the side that's been placed down, and you can see that the other side, it has pressed a bit of an impression or embossing into it from it coming up the other side, but there's been nothing to press it down in from the other side where we have that on our embossing folders. The sandwich that you use for this really depends on what machine you have and its particular calibration, but I'll tell you the sandwich that I use for mine. I use my Sizzix with it opened up to the first tab turned back. I put a cutting plate down. I put the embossing impression plate down. I put my paper down with the paper towards the pattern that I want, and then I put a silicone mat on top of it, and then I use my Sizzix, I don't know what they call it. It's the black pad, impression pad I think is what it's called, and run that through. If I need a little bit extra, I'll put another shim of paper up on top of the cutting, that second Sizzix black cutting pad. Run it through, and I love the impression that you get with it. I think that it's a little more subtle than an embossing folder, but it's very striking. It can give the paper the look that it actually was made with that texture in it. So that's why I like using impression plates occasionally. We're going to make this a gatefold card. So to begin with, I cut an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper in half on the long side. So this is 5.5 by 8.5 now. And instead of folding it in the middle, we're going to come over here and make a little wing, and it needs to be half of 4 1/4, which is a standard A2 size. So we're going to score it at 2 1/8. And when I'm working on cards, I really do like using this new Martha Stewart, the smaller one. It's just easier for cards. Now, I do my first scoring, and I'm going to turn it around and do the other one. I'm also going to score it at 2 1/8 as well. And I'm using a pretty heavy weight cardstock, so that's why I'm going over it again a few times. Now I'm going to show, I haven't told you all about this, but I've been using this Teflon bone folder for a little while, and I really like it. I find that I get much crisper edges, and it does not leave a shine. Now on white cardstock you rarely will see that, but if you're working with colored cardstock and you do your bone folder, if you were using the plastic one, it really did leave a little bit of a shine, and I never really was a huge fan of that. So I'm glad that this Teflon one does not do that. One thing I'm going to do is, while it is still flat, I'm going to stamp my sentiment on the inside. And you really could kind of line these up and make them a bit in kind of assembly line fashion. Once you've got your pattern down, it is really pretty easy. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and fold our side panels in. And for this one, I'm going to use this, this is crepe paper, I believe. I went and pulled out a whole bunch of patterns from various and sundry little books that I had, 6.5, 6x6 paper pads. And I believe this was a crepe paper one. Now we're going to make, first we want to cut 5.5 so that it fits the tallness of our card. And then we want to cut our panels, which will both be 2 1/4. Not 2 1/4, 2 1/8. Okay, and I'm going to kind of keep in mind where that was the first one. That's going to be the right panel. This is going to be the left panel. So I've got those next to each other. Each of you all are set to have a wonderful Valentine's Day. Know that I appreciate you so much for coming and hanging out with me, letting me share some ideas with you. I love going and seeing what you all are doing on your channels. Get lots of inspiration from you guys. That's what I love about this community. Okay, and I've made it a little long here. I will trim that here in a bit, but I'll wait to do that when you are not waiting on me to get the next thing. Get one of these that's pink, solid. I have to be a little more intentional about the heart. So put a little drop of glue down. Little heart there. And now to take my ATG, and you want to look for the side that has not as strong of the impression. I'm going to put it down. And I'm going to take our, and I want to kind of move it up towards the top, and I'm only going to put adhesive on this one side so that it will open. So I'm going to put this down, and I'm just going to be careful to just put adhesive on this left side, and I'm going to pick it back up and center it. Okay, have that. Now I'm going to take our hearts, and I told you I cut 3 or 4 of them at a time, and then I went and I stitched it down the center. And I'm going to leave a little bit of the tail because I like that it's kind of a homespun. I'm going to take a little bit of this is an 1/8 inch score tape, put it on the back side where the stitching is, and that will do 2 things. One, it's going to help us put it down on our, it's going to be what glues it down, but it also will keep the stitches from unraveling. So I peeled that off, and now I just want to kind of place this in the center. Then we're going to fluff it up just a little bit. And to do that, I'm going to use some dimensionals, but I've cut a row of them along here, and for me this is how I did it. I put the sticky side, pick it up, and I actually want it to be like this. And I take the other side of it off, and I go in, and I'm going to, on the first one, I'm going to go to the back, and I'm putting it in pretty close, and then I close it down. I'm going to get the next one. And I'm going to skip to the next one. I'm going to put it down. Kind of in the same place, so they're beginning to build off of each other. Okay? And I'm going to go up to the right up here. Put it right there and then bring that back over. Now I'm going to go over to the other side and do the same thing, and when I've done that I'll be right back. The last little touch I'm going to do is I'm going to put some rhinestones down the center here, and on the other one I had some little bit of sequin trim that I put down the center. That was fun. You could use buttons. You could do so many things, but just do something that's easy, and they'll each be their own, different, but yet you've been able to put them together fairly quickly. Got one more and we will be done. So there we have it. I now have 2 of them done, and I've got just a few more to make. I hope you all have a great Valentine's Day tomorrow. Thanks for joining me. I'll be back with another project soon, and be sure and save some time for creative play.